Okay, folks, merry festive period, whatever you may or may not celebrate. Just a short update today, to be fair. It's actually dried out for a little while, so I managed to put another coat of yellow paint on there without runs, so that's always good. And I spent the morning. I spent yesterday with family, so today has been a bit of what do I do with myself? So I actually reassembled the stabilizer wheels and got them back on the sissy bar. So they're all fairly clean with the new push nuts. I'm not worried about it being immaculate, but yeah. And I've also figured out that the worst one can go on that side because that's the side that's going to go against the wall when it's displayed. So yeah, we've got the wheels back on now. The tyre that had split, managed to work it back in so that it was almost touching. And where's the join? It is there. And honestly, just super glue. Super glue and friction seems to have held that in place. So that was an easy one to put back on. This one, however, I had to heat the tyre up slightly just because where I washed it and it sort of, where it came off, I should say, it contracted again. So I had to heat it up just to get a little bit of stretch. And I got that back on. So that's been today's job. I'm hopeful that if it stays dry, the way the weather's been recently, it might not. But if it stays dry, I might get an additional coat of yellow on there, just to be on the safe side, and then that can dry overnight. See, it's still just a little bit green where it chipped. So hopefully another coat of yellow on there, and then if it's dry tomorrow, I should be able to put the clear coat on. And then the next thing to do is I've got a couple of little, these they're like bushings, but they're for where the front wheel assembly goes together. So I've got to clean those up, and then all the pedal assembly and that can go back together, and then seat and wheel and stuff. But the hope for tomorrow, if it is dry or a little bit warmer, is I'll get those two bushings cleaned up, and then I can reassemble the entire front wheel assembly. I will have to look back on some of my older videos because they go in here. I can touch this, it's dry, I don't know what I'm hesitating for. But obviously you've got the plastic support that goes up that attaches to the forks, but there's a bushing, and I think the bushing goes on the inside. I will have to check my old videos. Then I can put the pedals on, because obviously I've got to slide those on first before I can put the pedals on. So then that'll be the front wheel assembly taken care of, ready to bolt back onto the frame. The sissy bar is now complete and ready to be bolted all back on eventually once I've got the back wheel and the seat finished. So we're getting ever closer to finishing him up. It's literally just a matter of battling weather, in terms of temperature or just rain, to be honest. So this was a nice little indoor job that I could do. It's bright outside. I put an extra spritz of paint on there. So we're nearly there. Just needs a couple of days where it's like today, where it's clear and it's dry. It doesn't necessarily need to be warm, but clear and dry. Then I can blitz through the last few bits, and then I'll be ready to put it all back together again. So we're getting closer. Yeah, sissy bar is now all together. Stabilizer wheels are now all together. I could have painted them, the wheels, but I chose not to. It's like where I clear up the metalwork on these things rather than painting them. I like the semi-rustic look. Same as with all the fixtures and the bolts and stuff. It's like, yes, you can give it a fresh lick of paint, but you kind of want a little bit of the history and the patina in there. So it's like with the bolt that will go through there, it's got a rounded one of those on it, and that's got a big crease down the middle. And the only way to get rid of that would be to replace it. But it's part of the history of this little trike, so I kind of want to keep that. There are people out there who, and I can fully appreciate it. Is just clear coat it and just leave it with the patina. But unfortunately, this one, the handlebars were a little too rough paint-wise, so it was easy just to completely refresh it. Whereas there are some of the slightly rarer bikes where, you want to keep the wear and the tear from over the years, but you just want to protect it from further wear or further rust. So this one I'm doing it complete, but in terms of like little bolts and things, I just clean them up. If there's any damage to them, they stay there. But then like tiny little bolts, if they need replacing, they can get replaced. It's varying levels of restoration, but so that's today's anyway, moving on. That's today's little task. That's done. That's nearly done. That's done. The mudguard is nearly done, and then everything else is also nearly done. So hopefully not too long. We are on Boxing Day now, December the 26th. I kind of want to get this finished before this year runs out. I've got a couple of days off work, so as long as the weather holds off, we can muck in and get it done. So we'll see how we go. All right, that'll do it. Take care. Ta-da.